Check 2. We're
Check.
about to go live on YouTube now. Thank you very much. You're here with David Grandison and Sneaker Conversations here live from SneakerCon 2018. Right now we have a expert customizer, Brad Torf from Astro Torf Customs in the house. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the customization game. He has a booth over here, by the way, if you want to check out some of the things he does. And right now, let's jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about what you do at Astro Torf Customs.
So I take everyone's shoes, whether it's a Jordan or a Yeezy or whatever they want to send in, Vans, and work with them on creating a one-of-a-kind wearable piece of art. So something that's to show off their taste, their style, instead of just having the same thing as everyone else.
That's what customization is about, and I really appreciate, how you go about it. Like I looked at some of your customs, and they're insane. Tell me about some of your clients, man. You've done customs for some real players. Tell us about it.
Yeah, as much as I love doing the pairs for the kids down the street and whatnot, I've been blessed enough to be able to do some pairs for Jason Mitchell, who a lot of people know as Eazy-E from Straight Outta Compton. So we had a chance to hook up last year and meet up. He was filming for a Showtime show, The Shy. We met up, talked about his design, and then he wore the shoes that I did for him that was symbolism for Black Power with some of the ideas he wanted to put on the shoe, and he wore them to the red carpet event for his movie Mudbound, which was a big deal. And now he's coming out in a movie, Superfly. So I know people want to check that out. I think it comes out in a week. But I've also had an opportunity to fly out as a VIP guest to Comic-Con in New York in December last year and did a pair for Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil on the Netflix series. So it's pretty cool to be able to do stuff like that and fit in other clients and do some charity pairs as well.
Oh, I love it. Tell me a little about, right now we're giving away a pair by Kickstradamus, and we love it that, customizers are willing to step up and share pairs. What type of charity events have you done with artists?
Well, I'm a dad. I'm a little bit older than a lot of the other customizers, which is maybe makes me a little bit different. But I've had an opportunity to do a lot of pairs for kids' pediatric oncology. So every year I do a pair actually for the Pediatric Oncology Treasure Chest Foundation here in Chicago. And, they honor a special kid. So I'm able to come up with the design without the kids knowing. And the only payment I ask for is I want to be able to hand deliver it at their fundraiser. Because as a dad, and I also work in healthcare, and as an artist, it's nice to be able to see the look on their face. I mean, that means a lot. And it really, I mean it with all sincerity. It really gets you right there. And it makes you feel good seeing the smiles you put on other people's faces.
This game isn't all about flossing. We've had two people on. We had Kosizi talking about how his charity is giving back, kicking it for a cause. And now, we have customizers who are really donating their shoes and trying to do good things for the world. It's not all about flossing. Sometimes you can actually get out and make a difference in the sneaker game. But what I'm going to talk a little bit about is now some things that young people who are interested in getting into customization, or established guys who want to learn more about how to be a customizer and actually how to make money as a customizer.
Right.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about customer service. How do you get customers, and once you get a customer, how do you treat customers to keep them coming back?
Well, there's a lot of amazing artists out there, and I think one of the things that separates me and actually some of the people that I've become friends with over the years of doing this, I've been doing this almost 6 years, is, you have to very simply speak to people nicely, respond to them quickly. It's not just about the art, there's the business side of it. And I think that's some of the things that people forget a lot of times is, I'm a great artist, so the rest kind of falls by the wayside. But from the moment you email me, I'm taking your questions as if that's the first time I've ever heard it before, because even though I might have heard that same question 1,000 times, that's the first time you've asked me. So I'm going to respond respectfully. And I want your business. I want to work with you. And if you're respectful to me, I'm going to be respectful back to you. And I want to work with you through the consultative process and give you what you want. Because ultimately, I always say, only two people need to like that custom. First and foremost, me. I'm not going to send you back something that's not high quality. But the client needs to like it. Everyone else is just gravy. All the likes on social media and the shares, I appreciate, and it means a lot. But ultimately, the client's the one that needs to love the shoes and love the process. And I get emails that say, this was the greatest process. Thank you so much for being so communicative and letting me know and keeping me posted.
So, that's interesting. Customer service. A lot of people don't think this is a game that's about customer service, but it is. If you are a reseller and you've got a clientele, you've got to treat your clientele right. New people come to you. You got to treat them right and make sure that they want to come back to you. That's how you build your clientele, build your mailing list, build all the things that entrepreneurs need to have in line. That's one of the things we talk about a little bit in the Sneaker Essentials program is how to build a clientele, how to, manage a business in the way an entrepreneur would. So with that said, tell me a little bit more about the ways that you are able to manage the business, manage the workload, because I'm sure there are times when you get more jobs than you can handle. How do you manage that?
Well, I had alluded to that earlier. I do work full time, so and I have kids and family, and they're always going to be my number one priority. But my work will never suffer because of my other priorities. So it is a balance in making sure that when I offer a turnaround time for a client, they will, in almost 6 years of doing this, I've never once missed a deadline because I'm going to overestimate how much time. And if someone doesn't want to wait that long, by all means, I get it. If you don't want to wait 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. So it's about balancing that and communicating with my clients and letting them know, hey, I've got one more and then you're next. I don't know if everyone else does that, and then let them know, hey, I'm getting started on your shoes today, and letting them know that they mean a lot to me. Like people are entrusting us with $100 shoes, $2,000, $3,000 shoes, and then giving me hundreds of dollars to do the work. That's humbling, right? They're sending it out to you, so you've got to respect them back. And so I think talking about the entrepreneurial spirit and how to run a business, that's the right way to do it. It can't just be about the art. There's so much more from a global perspective, and I think people forget that too quickly.
Yeah, I think that one of the points that you just made is we have to treat people with respect, and that's a big part of customer service. The customer's always right. We don't like to feel that way, but the customer is always right because they're giving you their money. They're trusting you with a pair of expensive shoes, and
Absolutely.
You have to make sure that you respect them and you take care of what they're doing, and you manage their expectations with a realistic lead time. If you manage their expectations, they're not going to be mad that it didn't come. If you say a month, it's going to be a month, and they can go or stay. Tell me a little bit about some of the more interesting customs that you've done. I know you've done some interesting stuff. I saw some pictures. What are your most interesting types of custom jobs?
A lot of times people know me for some clean colorways and the color swaps, which is actually my personal style. But I have some funky styles to like translate a limited Jordan onto another model, like the Jordan Wings 12s that came out a few years ago. I like ones, so I translated that on a pair of ones, which actually I was wearing them last night. So that kind of thing, but then I get a lot of requests for Looney Tunes or Disney, and so really getting to go in and do a lot of the detail work. Some of those customs take 25, 30 hours to do, and people don't see the work. They see a lot of these time-lapse videos, and it's a 10-minute video, but there's 25, 30 hours put into it. So I really enjoy all the different aspects of it. Sometimes it's something a little bit more straightforward. But when you really get in there and you get to airbrush and then go in with the detail and hand paint a lot of the stuff, like that Daredevil pair I was mentioning before, and a lot of times I like to do a lot of the hidden meanings. Like on the Daredevil pair I did, if you don't know, the character Daredevil is blind. So I did a skyline of New York City where the where the comic takes place, and in Braille I spelled out Daredevil, and it just looks like the city lights in the buildings, but he knew that I did it in Braille because, he knows the character's blind. He picked up on that. So just little details like that maybe other people wouldn't think to do, and I thought it was a great idea, and, to put it in there, and people, I think, respond, and the client responds to that. So it's neat to be able to do something like that, someone that really appreciates what you're doing, and like I said, it's great when everyone else likes it, but when the client is looking at it, 6 inches from their face and really appreciating the time and effort you put into it, it's like that's what it's about.
It's interesting. Hidden meanings, Easter eggs. You're able to do that as an artist. Every shoe designer can't do that, and so that's a really interesting thing about what you do as a customizer. And that's interesting about the custom game. You guys can go right over in the corner. We've got a lot of customizers who are spending time and going to create a work of art for you. It's a one-of-a-kind piece. So definitely go out and check out Astro Torf, and check out Kylie, and what's the name of
Kel Shmimi. She's also over there showing her monarchs.
Got Kel Shmimi over there. Shout out to Kel Shmimi.
Shout out to me.
And we're talking a little bit about how you get into the game as a customizer. Tell me about how you got started in customizing. What made you do it? How did you do it? Give me the background story.
David, that's a great question, actually. My background's a little bit more unique. Like I said, I'm a little bit older. I'll be 40 in a month. So I started about just under 6 years ago. And I've always been a sneakerhead, a Jordan collector. This was actually the Black Cement 4s. Yes, they're called Black Cement 4s, not Bread 4s. Was my first pair back in 1989 when I was 11. So, I've always been into it and everything. And a few years back as a collector, I just decided, you know what, I need to repaint a pair of shoes. Looked up some YouTube videos before Instagram and the social media really took off, even though customizing had been kind of more of a niche market and underground, not as more out there until social media came around. And after I repainted a pair of Fire Red 3s from 07, I tried my hand at customizing a pair of Stealth 3s, posted them in these sneaker groups here, local here in Chicago, and people kind of freaked out over them. And they're like, hey, can you do something for me? I'm like, all right. I don't know what to charge. I had no delusions of grandeur that I was going to be some big artist, but I took it seriously. I started buying the right paints and following the right procedures because I respected the fact that people were giving me their money, not as much as they do now, and their sneakers. And I said, hey, I'm pretty good at this. And people started complimenting me and messaging me more. And I realized maybe I was onto something. So you start building a repertoire of what you can do and the materials. And once again, I respected the fact that people were trusting me. So I made sure to do it the right way, and I spent a lot of time on my own shoes to make sure I did it right, and it just blew up from there. And I had some posts by sneaker blogs like Sneaker News and Modern Notoriety and whatnot, and it really helped get my name out there. And here I am today, a little bit more well-known, and seeing a lot of people here in Chicago helps because they kind of know who I am. So it feels good, and people that I've inspired to become artists as well. And that feels really good.
So you talk to us a little bit about this, but let's talk a little bit about the process. What's the process of customizing a shoe? What are the steps that you take in that process briefly? Give us a rundown.
So after going over the design with the client, a lot of times they'll just give me a theme and say, just do your thing, which I love doing. It's a little bit more difficult when they say, just do whatever you want to do, because if I'm feeling about doing something purple and maroon, they're going to get a purple and maroon shoe, and then they're going to tell me, I hate purple and maroon. So I like to get a little bit more direction from them. They say, I want a Cubs custom, or I want a Disney custom, and then they leave the rest up to me. Great. Work on their budget, then I work on the design. And a lot of times it's kind of just freestyling. Like I have the image in my head, I don't sketch it out ahead of time, and I say, okay, I want to put a building here, I want to put a character here, or whatever it is. So really, it's prepping the shoe, taping it up, and a lot of times it's taping, untaping, and that takes a lot of time. Sometimes there's 3-4 hours of prep work before paint even touches the shoe. So I don't think people know a lot about that. So, when people wonder why your prices are the way they are, they see the finished product. Right. But there's a lot of effort that goes into it, any touch-ups you need to do at the end, and then my favorite part is lacing them up, because to see something I started a few days earlier, that, I paint 3-4 hours a day at night, till midnight every night. So seeing something that was just a plain white shoe on Monday, on Friday is fully customized, and it's quite a daunting task at the beginning, but to see the finished product is even all these years later, I say, I did that. Like it's humbling for yourself. Like, wow, I can't believe I did that.
That's really, it's great. As an artist, man, I would love to be an artist and to be able to, make people happy by creating things that are beautiful. Tell me a little bit about how you made that transition from being simply an artist to being a businessman and making it a business. How do you manage that, that business part of it? How do you know, what's your lead time like? What's the average price for somebody who wants to buy one of your shoes, sees you on YouTube here? Tell us a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, you guys should definitely order my shoes. That's a good idea. I got kids to feed.
Shameless self-promotion, right?
Ask the Torf. But my lead time, it varies, but like I mentioned earlier, I will always give a turnaround time based upon my current order. So right now, for example, I say 6 to 8 weeks, which really means closer to 5 to 6. But that way, I'm not rushing through orders. And people, I don't want someone's quality of my custom to take a hit because I took on too many orders. I will never say no to an order that is doable, but I will definitely work with my clients. Like I said, it's a consultative process. So if something can't be done or I don't think will look good, I'm going to give my opinion. And I've lost probably hundreds of orders being honest about that. But ultimately, the end result, if it's not going to be wearable, if it's not going to look good, and I wasn't honest about it, there's more longevity in this business by doing things the right way than trying to make a quick buck. And 6 months later, these people are ghosts, these other artists. I want to be doing this for a long time. So people email me, tell me what they want done. I say, just be as specific as you can, and we'll come up with something. If you have a budget, so I mean, my customs can range from $100 to $1,000 plus. It really depends on the detail that you want in there. And if someone says they want something, they want, a Looney Tunes custom. And I say, well, if we did all these characters and this, that, and the other, it would be, $800. They say, oh, whoa. They say, I was thinking something more along the lines of $300 or $400. I say, great, let's come up with something in your budget. I'm not going to say no. If they want to say no because it's more than they wanted to spend, I understand, but I want to work with them because I want their business and I want them to get something unique.
Yeah, I appreciate that because I've definitely spoken to customizers and they're like, nah, I'm not going to take your project unless it's $500. I like the fact that you're like, no, I'll make something that works for your budget. I'm just going to price it out and I'm going to make sure that I give you as much as I can give you for that. That's a beautiful thing.
You got to value your time.
I love it. Have you ever customized any other types of shoes or things? Like, have you ever taken it in other directions?
I've done a lot. Obviously, I've done a lot of shoes, but I've done cleats before, like football, lacrosse, baseball cleats. I've done sweatpants for people. I've done some canvas work as well. Sometimes I do a canvas work to match a sneaker that I did. Sometimes just you're in a groove and you like the theme, so I'll throw in a canvas, like an 8x10 canvas or something like that. I've been hit up a few times to do like motorcycle helmets or football helmets. So, those are sometimes cool projects. And, if it's supposed to be something that's functional, I'm honest with them because obviously the time and the work, that's a completely different medium. So there's a lot of prep work and finish work that's way different than a sneaker. So, there's a lot of research that goes into it. So, once again, it's not about just taking the job for the sake of, yes, I can do it. And it doesn't turn out the way it's supposed to, because if my work is out there and I'm not there to defend it, what are people saying about it? So I want people to be like, these are better in person than even in the pictures. When people send me messages like that, whatever the medium is, that's a great feeling because I know that I took on something that I can be proud of because the client is proud of it.
That's a powerful thing. Again, you got to be an entrepreneur these days. You got to know how to get your hustle on. And, we've got an expert here who's sharing his time on how he does what he does as an entrepreneur. Right now you're here in Sneaker Conversations at SneakerCon. We're live on YouTube. We're about to wrap it up. Do we have any questions from anybody who's out here on the floor before we wrap this up? Any questions?
All right, my man in front.
Pass him the mic. Pass him the mic.
You said those were the black cement fours, and I was just wondering where that information came from. I just never heard that before.
So us OG sneakerheads. So the original colorway was black cement fours in 1989. So literally, if you just Google it, it was the name was the term bread, black and red, like for bread 11s, bread 4s. It was more like slang in the last probably 10 years or something. It's just easier to say, I guess. So they're bread. The original colorway is black and cement because it's cement gray. So, but that's what everyone that's how it is these days with these young kids. Everything has to be shortened, So, but we took the time to spell it out. I had someone try to call me out on that way back when because I posted these on Instagram and it said black cement fours are like, oh man, laughing emojis like you're wrong, and I'm like, Google is your friend, my man. So, but good question.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we do a lot in the Sneaker Essentials program. We try to share people the history of the sneaker industry. And yeah, that color and that term "bread" is an important term, for you to know and understand if you're in the sneaker game and you're for real. But you also need to know the real name of what it came out originally as, because you don't want to walk into a meeting if you're trying to get into the industry and you throw slang at somebody and they don't. And they're like, nah, that's not how we talk about this. So that's one of the things that we're doing as a part of the Sneaker Essentials program, is we're trying to provide background knowledge on terms that are important in the sneaker industry, history of the sneaker industry, and we're giving you insights from people like Brad Torf from Astro Torf Customs, so that you're able to move into this industry and you're able to make moves. Again, we got to thank SneakerCon for having us and allowing us to share some insights as a sneaker school. And again, you're here with Sneaker Conversations with Sneaker School. Our Instagram handle is This Sneaker School. You can find us on Facebook as well. So, hey, thanks a lot for taking the time, Brad. And we're going to get you and some of the other guys. We got some YouTube influencers coming up here next. So thanks a lot. Stay tuned. We'll do this again in the next 10, 15 minutes.
Thanks for watching.